Hey there everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, as most of you know, Disney is my childhood favorite entertainment company of all time, and even though nowadays it's been back on its feet since The Princess and the Frog, it doesn't mean we can't look back at the old classics, including the ones that came around after Walt passed away. You see, after the release of The Jungle Book, Disney was struggling with animation and storytelling, as well as a few financial issues which I can't really talk about on my show. Plus, several live-action films that were released during that time didn't leave too much of an impact on me as a kid. And, of course, most folks believe that The Rescuers was the highlight of Disney since Walt's death. However, the movie I'll be blogging today is one example of a film that several folks back then like or hate due to the fact of how it was cheaply done. But does it hold up well these days? Well, let's take a look and see. Released on November 8th, 1973, the movie is Robin Hood. Now let's get started. Robin Hood goes around helping the poor people of Nottingham fight the tyrannical reign of Prince John. As Robin fights for the people, things just keep getting worse as the prince takes out all of his frustration on his poor citizens. Robin's bravery and love for his people is what makes him a worthy foe for the prince as he tries to exterminate Robin's very existence. So, what are my thoughts? Well, despite its use of recycled animation, it still remains a childhood favorite of mine. But before I get ahead of myself on why I like this film, let's move on to Mustang notes. Around the time of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937, Walt Disney became interested in adapting the 12th century legend of Reynard the Fox. However, the project languished due to Walt's concern that Reynard was an unsuitable choice for a hero. And then, over the years, a number of story treatments were prepared and various attempts at concept sketches were made. Following 2 decades of fruitless attempts, Ken Anderson blended his ideas with the tales of Robin Hood, incorporating that the Fox character could be slick and still use its skills to protect the community. Additionally, Anderson wanted to set the film in the Deep South, desiring to recapture the spirit of Song of the South. However, the executives were pretty wary of the reputation of Song of the South, which was followed by Wolfgang Reitherman's decision to set the film in its traditional English location, inspired by the story of Robin Hood and his merry men. Veteran writer Larry Clemens came on board the project by writing a script with dialogue that was later storyboarded by other writers. As production went further along, Robin Allen wrote in his book, Walt Disney in Europe, that Ken Anderson wept when he saw how his character concepts had been processed into stereotypes for the animation on Robin Hood. Additionally, Anderson wanted to include the merry men into the film, which was again overwritten by Reitherman because he wanted a buddy picture reminiscent of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Because of the time spent on developing several settings and auditioning actors to voice Robin Hood, production fell behind schedule. And just recently, in September of this year, it was announced that the studio had begun production on a live-action film titled Nottingham and Hood, with hopes that it would spawn a new film franchise. The tone is set to be similar to the Pirates of the Caribbean film franchise. My response? Well, I can't say it'll be a bad idea until we find out what it has to offer. Note my optimism. Now, as I said earlier, this movie is packed with recycled animation. Not just from previous animated Disney films, but sometimes they would reuse animation from another scene. But despite all of that, the animation for each animal character is still very well done. Not only do I consider this movie a fantasy, but I also consider it to be a comedy, due to all the hilarious slapstick moments. Also, this movie has awesome fight scenes, and the ending climax is very daring, especially with the archery scene. Most of the songs in this movie are sung by a rooster named Alan Adale, voiced by Roger Miller. To me, while he doesn't appear too much in the film, he's still a memorable character, and I just like the laid-back tone he does with his music. The songs he sings are known as the Whistle Stop, which is like a slow version of the Hamster Dance, which plays during the opening credits. The second song, Oodle Lolly, is where we get introduced to Robin Hood and Little John as they stroll through the forest and evade the sheriff's coyote guards. Plus, Oodle Lolly is a phrase that's used a lot in this movie. Later in the film, when everyone is in jail, Alan sings a sad song called Not in Nottingham. There's also the love song sung by Maid Marian while she and Robin are having a romantic evening walk in the Sherwood Forest together. Afterwards, it gets followed by a song called The Phony King of England, sung by Little John. To me, it's the funniest song in the movie. However, parts of the dance are recycled from other films like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, The Jungle Book, and The Aristocats. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, animation, and songs, let's move on to the characters and their voice actors. Our hero, Robin Hood, is voiced by Brian Bedford, who sadly passed away in January of this year. The only film I seem to know him from was A Christmas Carol from 2004. Robin has got to be one of the greatest animated heroes that Disney has made during the 70s. And like Peter Pan and Aladdin, I would team up with him on an adventure any day. I also think his fighting styles, disguises, and his archery skills are awesome. Next we have Robin's best friend, Little John, voiced by the late Phil Harris. Known for voicing Baloo in The Jungle Book, Thomas O'Malley from The Aristocats, and of course, Patu from Don Bluth's Rock-a-Doodle. But I'll get to this movie soon enough. Anyway, what I like about Little John is that he's how most best friend characters are. He looks out for Robin and does a great job backing him up when he's in a bit of a pickle. Next is Robin's love interest, Maid Marian, voiced by Monica Evans. You may remember that I did include this lovely vixen as an honorable mention on my top 11 other Disney princesses list. But for those who haven't seen it, the reason why I like Marian is because she's a really sweet character, and I like the fact that she and Robin have been childhood sweethearts. My favorite scene that she's involved with is when she plays with the kids who accidentally fired an arrow in her backyard. Maid Marian's lady-in-waiting, Lady Cluck, is voiced by Carol Shelley. I find her to be the funniest character in the movie, and I just laugh out loud when she beats up Prince John's rhino guards, football style. Next up is Friar Tuck, an old badger voiced by Andy Devine. He runs the Church of Nottingham with his mice friends Saxton and Little Sister, and he also helps Robin Hood deliver money to the poor. He believes someday Robin will be a great hero due to all the hope that he brings to the people of Nottingham. Our villain, Prince John, is voiced by Peter Ustinov, who got to narrate in Sanrio's Winds of Change movie. He also voices his brother, King Richard. Anyway, in my opinion, Prince John is a bit of a mama's boy. You can tell every time he throws a tantrum and cries out for mom while sucking his thumb, which in my opinion is way more immature than a certain little boy carrying around a blanket while sucking his thumb. Also, he's a bit of a tyrant because of all he cares about is his wealth, even though he's offering a big reward for Robin Hood's capture. Plus, one part about him makes me think that he was the inspiration for Scar from The Lion King. Prince John's snake advisor, Sir Hiss, is voiced by Terry Thomas. To me, Hiss seems to be a certain copy of Kaa from the Jungle Book, due to the fact that he did say that he hypnotized King Richard to go off on his crusade, so that Prince John could take the throne. But still, Hiss is a pretty funny character, though. Next is the Sheriff of Nottingham, voiced by Pat Bertram, who after this movie voiced Chief in The Fox and the Hound. In my opinion, while he is a scoundrel mostly, he does act like a friendly character, while he does Prince John's bidding by collecting taxes. He even has two vultures named Trigger and Nutsy working with him. Another character I need to talk about is the Rabid Boy Skippy, voiced by Billy Whittaker. Now, I like this young lad due to the fact that he's a huge fan of Robin Hood, and I like that he wants to have adventures just like him someday. The rest of the cast includes John Fielder, Barbara Luddy, Candy Candido, and J. Pat O'Malley, who all played a big part in the old days at Disney. So now it's time to move on to my final words. Overall, Disney's Robin Hood is still a good movie, despite the fact that it was cheaply done. The animation is still pretty good, and do serve as nice references to past Disney films. A lot of the characters are memorable, lovable, and hilarious, and the songs are just so good that I just can't help but sing along to them. I give this film a rating of 85% out of 100. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again next time. Mustang Power!